Hello, 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 and welcome to today's co-taught lesson. Very glad to have you here as a part of Computer Science Education Week. We have a lot going on today, so let's get going. Today we're doing a code build challenge. So you're going to be coding and building today. That's really exciting. Working with Minecraft, of course, and Minecraft Education Edition. Really glad to be here though, because this is one of my favorite things to do is coding. And what a great time to do it. And what a great friend to code with today. Coulter, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hey, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. We have an awesome presentation to start wrapping up our Computer Science Week today. We have a build challenge that we're going to be using to code. I don't want to spoil it just yet because we'll get to the descriptions and everything in a little bit. But before we get there, we want to introduce our awesome guest speaker, and we want to have a great discussion about how technology is in our everyday life. And then we'll get into our build challenge. But first, we'll have a quick. We'll go through a quick little test run with our form with you, and I'm going to pass it back to Susan to sort of get things started here.
Awesome. Thank you. Yes. So, yeah, I'm Susan. I'm an instructional technology coach from Central California. So, I'm really glad to be here with you today. And while we're here, I want to make sure we pause and acknowledge our land. So, it's very likely that you're participating and learning from some traditional territory or land of one of the many indigenous groups across North America. So, I want to pause and acknowledge that I'm presenting from the traditional territory of the Yokuts people, whose beautiful land on which I'm able to teach and I'm able to learn and explore and share my passion of technology with you. So make sure you take a moment and acknowledge the land where you are when we come together. And if you want to know more about the land, you can visit nativeland.ca. A lot of great information about the lands in North America and the indigenous people of those lands. So, who are we? Coulter and I are part of a group of teachers who love to share technology and innovation with learners around the globe. We are called the Cobblestone Collective. And if you'd like to learn more about us, we're at cobblestonecollective.ca. Couple thank yous out there. Coulter, you want to shout
Yeah,
out?
I'll definitely thank Microsoft Education and Minecraft Education as well for supporting these sessions. Without their support, we would not be able to be in your classroom today, and definitely we wouldn't be able to be in your classroom without your teachers' support. So thank you, teachers out there, for allowing us to come in and work with your students and be a part of Computer Science Week with you.
Awesome, wonderful. All righty, it's almost time. Before we get started, we want to try something out. So, the way we're set up here in this live stream, you can see and hear us, but we can't really hear or see you. So, we want to give you a space where you can communicate with us. So, how this will work is you're going to open up a new tab or a different place, a different browser somewhere else. Don't close us, right? Open up a new window and go to thecc.page/Minecraft 2021. So thecc.page/Minecraft 2021. And on that page, you're going to be able to insert some information. We might pose some questions out loud to you, and you can respond there at that page. Keep that page open. It'll always be the same form. So when we throw a question out there, say, like this first one here, it says, what coding have you done during Computer Science Education Week so far? You're going to let us know. You're going to go to thecc.page/Minecraft 2021 and answer. So we'll give you just a moment there to share, but I want to share some exciting coding I've been doing during Computer Science Education Week. I work with young learners, typically, kinder, grade 1, grade 2. And we've been doing a lot of coding this week with our B-bots and our Ozobots. And that's been so great because everything's about foundations there. And we were teaching that step-by-step formatting, programming, making sure that we can understand what computer programming is. So it's really exciting. I know today we're going to be doing so much more than pushing buttons on a bee, but it's been a really fun experience sharing that with even the teeniest tinies of learners.
That's awesome. I have officially started to do different languages in coding over this week. So not only were we working in Python all week, I started to try to teach myself a little bit of some Java, which is brand new to me, and it was quite challenging. But that was something that I wanted to practice and just uh, dive into right away. So that was one of the types of coding languages that I use. One of the three this week that I've been trying to practice with and get better with. So it's been an exciting week for me, and we definitely hope that it's been pretty fun and exciting for you.
Oh, it looks
And
like we have some friends shouting out in there. Looks like Miss Slack's class is with us, grades 5 and 6, and it sounds like they've been doing some make code Python, and they've been doing Python with us, I guess, this week as well. Awesome. Python is new to me this week, and now they're here for the challenge. Can't wait.
we have Savannah that's been doing Minecraft with us all week as well. So she's learned how to do the hour of code. So awesome, Savannah! Welcome back, and hopefully your classmates are alongside you today, which is great. We have Jeremy that's chimed in as well. So thanks, Jeremy, for being here. I think it's time that we bring on our guest speaker. Do you not, Susan?
That sounds awesome. So this is how it's going to work today. First, we're going to have our guest speaker, Andrew, and then we'll have our code build challenge. So
Perfect. So Andrew is working with Microsoft, which is awesome that we have a Microsoft employee here with us to critique our builds later on, maybe. And he's going to hang out with us all day. But before we bring on Andrew, before we get into Minecraft, Andrew's going to have a quick little tech talk with us today about his journey through technology and how it's impacted his life and his career. So get some questions lined up when he's ready. There he is. Hey, Andrew, thanks for joining us today.
Awesome to be here. Very excited to share and see what kind of build challenges that we have today. Love Minecraft and super excited to be here. Let me pull up my screen right here and just share a little story about myself, how I got involved with Microsoft and everything alongside of that there. So 3 small things I'm going to be doing today here. Oh, that's a little side screen there. Let me see if I can fix that. We'll leave that there. Should be fine. Susan, would you be able to share your screen actually? Mine seems to be a little wonky right now, but nonetheless, we'll jump in here. 3 things I want to share today. What is business, case competitions, my careers in technology, which is what I'm here to share today. We'll jump into the next slide. It says, what is business? I could be here all day talking about what business could be. But one specific area that I really wanted to jump into was consulting. And what is really consulting? Consulting is kind of like being a professional problem solver. If a company is having a big struggle, they'll maybe pull in a different company to help them out. So if the company is struggling to do a tech implementation, if a company is struggling to manage some change with people, for example, that would be an opportunity for a consultant to come in and help with the company. And that was this really big ambition that I had in my career. And I had to work up to that. So in order to do that, I did something called case competitions, which is on the next slide here. And there's really, case competitions are essentially a competition where you go through 3 stages to build, plan, and present a solution to a case panel and a panel of judges. So the 3 stages are kind of something similar you'll go through in this build challenge phase today. But for me, in case competitions, what this means is I had a planning phase here. So in the planning phase, if we go to the next slide, it talks about, do I understand the prompt? Do I understand the main issues that I'm trying to solve here? In the build phase, it's how can I resolve the problem, or what data, or how can I use computer science, for example, to manipulate the data to support my argument. And then lastly here, to present. Once I have the plan, I've built everything out, how can I explain myself in a compelling way? I think it's very interesting once that we plan and build everything, we might understand everything ourselves, but in order to get someone else to understand it, we have to present it in a very simple way sometimes to someone who might not understand what coding is maybe, or who doesn't understand what the problems are. And so that journey is actually something that I do at a really high level and continue to do. And it's given me some really cool opportunities around the world. So if we go to the next slide here, I've been all over the world presenting in case competitions. So in the top left here, you'll see I was in Mexico at a university. In the bottom left, I was presenting across Canada in places like Regina. I'm going to Manitoba in January. I've been to Toronto. And on the right here, it's also given me the opportunity to travel halfway around the world. Some of those photos here are from Europe and Africa, in Copenhagen, in Sweden. And that bottom right photo is one of my personal favorites. When I got to travel to Morocco, I got to spend a day in the Sahara Desert riding a camel. So even case competitions have given me a lot of really cool opportunities to travel around the world. And if we go to the next slide, case competitions have also given me really good work opportunities and unique opportunities. And I think that's where I really fell in love with technology and how it can amplify just your career in general. So I'll give some examples in places of where I've worked and how technology has really been the core of my everyday work. So at Pepsi, you might see a lot of the drinks, you might see Lay's as well in your stores, but it doesn't magically get there. So I worked on the team that used technology to make sure that all the shelves were stocked, that making sure that when you went into the store during Thanksgiving weekend or Christmas weekend, that there'd be plenty of chips there to bring home to your family at the end of the day. At Fraser Health, which is a healthcare subsidiary, when you go to the doctors, you might find it interesting that they have a lot of the information stored in your medical history. We make sure that at Fraser Health that it's stored properly, and to make sure that at the end of the day, we use technology and computer science in the back end of things to organize all the data, so it's really easy for the doctors to understand. I then worked at Deloitte, where I worked on a consulting project, where we use technology to help a garbage removal company and a painting company use their phones to track where their customers are and help customers really thrive in their environment. And then lastly, here I'm at Microsoft working with Minecraft education. I think that speaks for itself, that technology really is everywhere. And I think I found a place now where I get to really work with something I'm passionate about. And that's just a bit of my story and how technologies and careers in technology do come together. And I'll wrap up there so we can get going on our build challenge.
Awesome. Wonderful. So we're going to continue on with this. But before we start building, we do want to give an opportunity for you to give us a quick little set of questions if you want. So if you have questions for Andrew, he just shared a really great kind of introduction of where he's been and all the ways that technology has supported his career. But do you have questions for Andrew? And I already see a couple coming in the form there. What questions do you have for Andrew? Remember, if you go to thecc.page/Minecraft 2021, you can put those questions there, and Coulter and I will try to get some of those shout out here on the screen. I already see Sophie from Miss Kirkham's grade 2 and 3 class has a question for you, Andrew. And she asks, you mentioned some of the medical records, and they wonder, why don't the doctors just store it on paper?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the reason why it's a little tougher to keep things on paper is one, paper can burn. So if there's like, for example, a fire at the doctor's office, we lose all the records there. And the reason why we store electronically is because maybe perhaps you move from Vancouver to Toronto, right? So instead of mailing everything over to Toronto, there's an electronic file that we can send over, and that's a lot easier to store. It's a lot easier to get from one place to another, and it makes it more seamless for you and your family if you decide to move, for example. And in the case of an emergency, we'll still have something about you and understand who you are as a client, so the doctor can help you better.
Very cool. I see some more questions coming in. That was a great question, though, because that's a big conversation about data and data privacy and making sure that all our information is safe. Uh, it looks like we have some more questions in there. Coulter, do you see some of those questions I see?
Yeah. So Nolan asks, what job have you enjoyed the best so far in your career?
Yeah, I loved all my jobs so far. I think they have given me very different examples of how technology can be amplified in any company. Um, but I would love to say I love my job with Microsoft right now. Minecraft, I get to work with Minecraft education every day, and I get to work with Minecraft every day. And I wake up excited knowing that um, it's a tool that helps with computer science. It's a tool that I'm passionate about. So it's I think it's really important to find something that you really enjoy every day. And I think I've really found that with Minecraft education.
Awesome. I think some of our students out there are probably like, yeah, that would probably make sense that my having a job with Minecraft education would probably be the coolest or my most favorite job if they when they get there, right?
It's awesome. Yeah.
So we have Natalie from grade 6 also has got a good question here for us. And it says, why did you decide to do the tech things instead of other things, such as selling a product or, such as selling a product? Good question.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting because when I was actually working at Pepsi, for example, I was working in their sales department. But what I realized that even in any department, like when you're in sales, marketing, finance, anything business related has a tech aspect to it. And I found that really interesting. So when I was at Pepsi and I was on the sales side, I saw a lot of barriers in day-to-day work that could have been amplified with tech. And I realized at that point, tech can do so many things, both for employees, for the community, for society in general. And that's where I really fell in love with tech. I realized that it's not something that is separated from a day to day. And I believe that if I could get involved with technology, I could really make a change in my communities, which is why I'm really passionate about tech and where tech is going in the future. It's crazy to think of how technology has even changed our learning environment, for example, our work environment. And it's exciting to be part of that change.
Awesome. Yeah, those are great answers, Andrew. And I love that you're making these connections always back to technology and just showing and highlighting that as we progress and as we grow, it's important to just have that tool in our back pocket with technology, whether that means that you're you're good at graphic designing or you're good at even typing or you're comfortable when you're using technology. And I love that Minecraft allows our students to be in an environment where they feel pretty comfortable and pretty confident. At least when I know that I'm working with students, I love hearing them share their ideas and their creations with me. And I hope that today we get a lot of our students sharing their ideas and creations with you today as well.
Super excited.
It's been really fun this week to listen to some people share about all the ways that technology and innovation has just really impacted their jobs. We talked to so many amazing people, just the way that, things used to be done one way. And as, technology evolves, work becomes more efficient, becomes more engaging, work becomes more exciting. We can be more effective at what we do because technology really streamlines some processes. So that's been really great. We have a few more questions we'd love to take, and just a couple shout outs there. I want to shout out to Mo and George and Emily who are out there saying hello. We've got so many friends out there, some great classes jumping in, but looks like let's see, what do we have going on there? Anika's curious, like we've been talking about technology, like what is your favorite thing in technology? Like what do you like about technology?
What do I like about that's a tough question. I think what I like about technology, I'm a huge data person. I love information and driving really good insights with information. So the computer science background that I come from a data background. So I know you guys have been doing a lot of work with Python. I've done some work with Python, but there's some other languages too, something called R or SQL that I personally work with. And that helps me get a lot of structure to raw numbers. So maybe if I get a bunch of information and a bunch of statistics, it's just information at the end of the day. And I use coding to actually clean that data and then structure that data in a more presentable way, so that when I present it to somebody, they're able to understand it and digest it, maybe as a pie chart or a bar chart instead of just some raw numbers. And I think that's really exciting for me, being able to get something that's so complicated, just a whole bunch of numbers, being able to bring it through technology, through coding, computer science, for example, and then present to someone in a very clear way. I think being able to make that connection for someone, that's really rewarding for me, which is why I wanted to go to consulting, maybe into sales one day as well. But that's really what I'm really excited about.
Yeah, you mentioned all those languages, and Samit out there asked about, how does the software make the computer work? And that's what it is. It's those coding languages that provide those step-by-step instructions to make the computer work. So that software is coded, right? But that's what the code is. It's that language that tells, if this, then this, do this, right? It's really, really great. Some more questions in there. Let's see. Oh my gosh, so many friends out there are excited about, they want to get started with Minecraft too. And so they have some questions about some of your favorite things to build in Minecraft. There's a couple of questions. What are some of your favorite things to build in Minecraft?
Oh, yeah. I think every time I get to jump into a world and build something, I like building like a community. If I could jump in with some friends, build some neighbors' houses as well. It's always just so exciting to kind of build a world outside of a world or in a world. But yeah, I love jumping into a world and building a small community with my friends. Every time I jump in with different friends, people kind of want to build different things, right? Like whether that be a school or a library, or focus on just their homes, and whoever has the best home is the winner. But that's super exciting for me, just being able to build a community with my friends.
Wow, that is really, really great. Yeah, that's another thing about technology, is how it does bring us together, right? Even, we could be in different places and we can all work together. So anything that connects people, love it. Cool. How's it going there, Coulter?
Yeah, I think we have time for one more question before we get into our Minecraft education build challenge today. So there's been a bunch of great questions. So we love to see them come through. Keep having them come through, and maybe we'll have a moment throughout our workshop today where we can find time to answer these questions. But I think I saw a good question, and it had to deal with, what is your definition of technology, Andrew?
Wow, that is a hard question, a very loaded question. Um, Technology. I think technology, that definition has changed over the days, right? I think for me, in the work I do right now, technology is something that I think, especially in the past 2 years, is technology is something that connects people. It connects things together. Whether that be this through the stream right now, from my home to your classroom, whether that be connecting data online through the internet and the interweb, or whether that be connecting different softwares together, or connecting hardware to software. I think technology is a bridge for a lot of those things. That's a tough question.
Yeah,
And I'll probably
that was
yeah, I'll
coming from
probably be thinking about
Sophia.
that after this.
Yep.
And I think it speaks to what technology is. Technology is consistently evolving. You ask this question now, and you ask this question in 6 months. It'll be something very different, right? With all the technology trends, like the metaverse, for example, if you've heard of that, virtual reality, augmented reality, those were all things that didn't exist 6 months ago, or maybe like a year and a half ago, right? So it's really cool to see all these things consistently change. So technology is a bridge that's constantly changing and help us adapt to our environment. I think that's one way we can summarize it.
I love that definition, that idea of connecting. And I want to add to it, because I think with connecting, we for me, that connect and improve, right? Because technology, anything that connects improves. And I think those go hand in hand, right? As long as we're connecting on and bridging and building, that's great. So connect and improve. Awesome. That is a wonderful questions out there from, it is Sophia from Mrs. Kirkham's grade 2-3 class. She's got some great questions in there. So thank you, Sophia, for being so inquisitive.
All right. I think, Andrew and Susan, I think it's time that we start getting into our Minecraft worlds today and we start our little build challenge. So we have a few, the way that we're going to run this today is we have a few steps for you to complete. All right. Along the way. And you're going to be coding alongside me and building alongside me, but you're also going to be doing it at your own pace and you're going to be creative the way that you want to be creative. So let's head on over and let's get into some Minecraft education and start getting ready to build and code. So today we are going to create our own time gap. So start thinking about maybe what kind of time gap that you want to create. Just like we've been fixing all week long. We've done the Mona Lisa, we did the dinosaurs. You might have been with us when we did the pyramids. You might have been with us when we met the first computer scientist. We definitely met Louis Armstrong and completed some tasks with the 1920s trumpet. We even, if you were on yesterday, we even got super lucky and we were able to complete the airstrip, the runway strip. So we've done a lot of these time gaps. And we want you to now create your own time gap where Andrew is going to help guide us with his Microsoft mind and his Minecraft mind. He's going to help see if these, well, at least if mine would ever make it onto the game. So we'll see. I don't know. I don't know how good mine is, but we'll see. We're going to start creating, and I want to get some ideas going too, because I'm not too sure what I'm going to start building. So we're going to plan and we're going to brainstorm together on the type of time gap that we might want to create today. So let's log in. Head on over to Microsoft Education. Set yourself up where you can log in with your school username and password. And once you do that, we're going to select play. Now, I am logging in myself, so we're logging in together, which is great. And I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to get rolling. We are going to head into a blocks of grass template. I would recommend going into a blocks of grass template for today, as it's the easiest place for us to build. And I just highly recommend it. But if you really wanted to, you could go into an infinite world. And if you're an expert, you can definitely go in at your own and go in and into a world that you're quite comfortable in. Let me just switch my screens here and share my Minecraft with everybody. There we go. All right. Okay.
As Coulter's getting his screens up and going, remember, we are going to be making our own, time split and our own, so that make sure you are thinking about some scenario or some, situation you might be generating as part of the idea there. So awesome. Coulter, you got that screen up and rocking for us. Oh. Coulter, we can't hear you. We're almost, there we go. He's switching computers and getting himself ready. Awesome possum. It is that. There we go. Yeah, you were talking about the Louis Armstrong trumpet and talking about the pyramids. I was having a really good time. Python is very new to me. And so when we were doing some Python coding, I think it was yesterday, it was so fun only because I love comparing it to other kinds of code. So, one thing about like even speaking languages, we find connections in just the language we speak out loud. But when I start seeing those connections between code that I have used before in Python, that was a lot of fun. Just learning new things.
Oops. That's what happens when we're working from home. Some things just fall off the counters.
Alrighty.
But I think that was the big bell to let us know. Here we go. Let's get rolling. Sorry, Susan. Oh, okay. Now that we are in our Minecraft world, we're going to click on play. And we are going to start this up and we are going to select we're going to create a new template. And we're going to select blocks of grass. Okay, and this is where we're going to head in and select blocks of grass. And you're going to create or play your world. So again, from your home screen, you're going to click play, create new templates, blocks of grass. So head on over there, and this is a recommendation. If you wanted to go into your own world and you know how to set up your own infinite world or your own flat world, and you're very comfortable in Minecraft, you can do that. The reason we want blocks of grass, though, is because when we're coding and we're learning to code with our agent in Minecraft, it's the easiest place. This is the best place to do it because your agent doesn't get lost. It doesn't get stuck behind trees. And so it's a really good way to start practicing with our agent. Okay.
And remember, I want to remind everyone, if you're not quite ready to get started, the great thing about being live with us here is that if you have not gotten logged in yet, and if you need to do that step of, create or play, create new template, what can you do right now? Remember, at any time during this, if you need a couple extra seconds, hit pause, right? Because we'll still be here, and that'll give you a chance to catch up. Don't forget that this whole time. If you need to, hit pause, and then you can continue on with us. So here we go.
Awesome. So this is our Minecraft flat world. Now, I love running on the I do and then you do type model where I'm going to show you something and then I want you to do it on your own. Okay. And the first thing we need to do is we need to get our coding agent out and say hello to our coding agent. So we can always do that by pressing the letter C, but this is the way that I like to do this because I then have control of where I can place my agent. So I go into my inventory first, and I'm going to search for my agent. So I can just type in spawn or spawn agent. And you can see I get a nice, I call this my Rudolph egg, but it's my egg or my clown egg because it's got the red nose right there, right? So I can get my spawn agent there. So again, I just typed it at the top. Spawn, or even if you type in agent, you'll see it in there with all the other items of the inventory. And we're going to grab that and we're going to drop it down into our toolbar. So I just click and click to bring it down. And actually a student this week taught me that if I press shift and I click, it automatically goes into that toolbar into the next open space. So shift, click, and that brings it right down into my hotbar. And now whenever I have this in my hand by pressing numbers 1 to 9, I can right click and see my agent. Now, maybe I want my agent to go over here. I right click and drop my agent there. So wherever I'm going to have my agent build today, I can always use my spawn egg to spawn the agent exactly where I want them to be. Okay. Friendly reminder, if you need to remember how to use your controls, press the letter H and you'll be able to see on the left-hand side your controls, W, A, S, and D, to move you around, spacebar to fly, because we are in a flat world that is creative. Make sure you're in that creative world today, right? So once we've spawned our agent, we are now going to do a quick little practice of our chat commands. Now, I know a bunch of you probably already know how to use your chat commands and your slash commands, but it's so important that we share our knowledge with everybody and we practice this with everybody because we are going to be using this a lot in the future. We're going to be using our chat commands a lot. So the first thing I like to do with my chat commands is I just like to change the weather. So a slash command, remember, is a little bit different than a chat command. Okay, a slash command is going to code something in my computer. So if I'm going to do a slash command, it's going to say weather. And then maybe I want it to be thunder today. So if I did slash weather thunder and pressed enter, I'm going to get a thunderstorm. And again, I know a lot of you probably already know this, but it's so important that your neighbors and your classmates know how to do this today because we're going to be using our chat and slash commands a little bit. So again, what I did was I pressed enter to open up my chat screen, and then I typed in slash weather, and I changed it to thunder. But now that it's thundering, I want it to be clear. So I'm going to change it to clear. So go ahead, just change your weather for me, just to make sure that you've got that practice down, because I promise you, we're going to come back to this chat command and use it a bunch today. Now, remember that the chat command is also a slash command. So if I put a slash there, that's the same button as my question mark. If I put this slash there, it just means that I'm going to now be coding something on my screen here. And I'm going to be coding whatever comes next, which is going to be the weather. Okay. Now, if I didn't put a slash, that's just a chat command. And the chat command is just, you can see on the left-hand side of my screen, it just says my name, and it says that I've typed in weather. So it's just a chat command, and we're going to use our chat command to code today. All right. So now we've done 2 things so far. We've got our spawn agent out, and we've practiced using our chat and slash commands. So if you need a little bit more time to do that, not a problem. Take your time, practice that, get that agent out. But we are going to move on to our coding screen. And we are going to first just do a couple practice codes before we actually get into planning our time gap today, or our time split. Okay, so we're going to do a couple practice codes here to make sure that you feel comfortable with your agent. And to do that, we need to press the letter C. So when we press the letter C, you're going to get a screen that asks you to choose the make code option. Now, not sure if mine is going to pop up here. Let's see here if it does. Yeah, mine goes right into Code Builder, but your screen might look like this. Let's see here. Your screen might look like, let's get this pulled up. Susan, maybe if you could throw up slide 33 for everybody, because that screen will be what they'll see. And we're going to select make code. Okay. We're going to select make code. And I just want to make sure that you get that visual there. So it's the first one at the top that says Microsoft Make Code when you press the letter C. Yeah, that's the one. Perfect. Yeah. So click on Microsoft Make Code when you press the letter C, and that's going to bring us into our code building world. Now, if you accidentally select one of the other options, you'll have to just come back out and cancel it, and then you can go back in and try it again. Okay, but we are going to be working with Make Code because those other options there to code in Minecraft are also great, but today we've decided to do the Make Code option. Okay, so what we're going to do is, I'm going to share my screen again. We are going to create a new project. So once you get into Minecraft and you click on the letter C and you get into your code builder world, your make code, we're going to select new project. Okay, and we're going to give our project a name. Now you can title it time gap, time split, whatever you'd like to title it, go for it. I'm going to title this one time split. Okay, and we're going to create our own little project here. And look, this is quite a familiar screen if you were with us all week, because we've been coding in Timecraft and they have a very similar screen. The only major difference, and it's a pretty big difference, is that we see a lot more different options on the left-hand side. But we also see some of the ones that we're very familiar with, like, for example, our agent. We have our agent options here, like our agent actions for agent to place forward, or agent to move forward, or agent destroy. And we have these parameters in there that are very similar as well. So your task is to head on over to Make Code, get into a new project, and title that project. Now I'm coding here in blocks, but if you want to change it and you're pretty comfortable, you can look at the top of the screen here and you can change into coding in Python. You could also try Java or whatever you feel comfortable with. However, I'm going to code in Python or in blocks today, and I'm actually eventually going to switch over to Python just so you can see what it looks like. So I love that we can switch back and forth to see the different codes. So maybe I'll write a quick little line of code in Python today, or maybe I'll just stick to blocks. So it's up to you, whatever you feel comfortable with. So what we can do is we want to first practice some simple things, okay? We want to practice some simple things where we are going to just get comfortable with using our agent in this world, because it's a little bit different than Timecraft. And this might be your first time actually coding with your agent in Minecraft, Okay, so we want to make sure that we do a few simple things like move our agent a little bit. So I'm just going to go and instead of the on start today, I'm going to use the on chat command because that's what we were just practicing with. And on chat command, I got on chat command run. So yeah, I'm going to use run because I'm going to make my agent run a bunch of times right now. So I'm going to use a loop and I'm going to put my loop in there and the repeat. And I'm going to put agent forward and let's make my agent move forward. Say, let's put him on a good run. He needs a good stretch. So let's say agent move repeat forward 30 times. Okay. And I'm just going to go back. I'm going to click on the play button. I'm going to select the green play button at the bottom right. And I'm going to open up my chat command. And because that blue button said run, I'm going to type in run. No slashes are needed. Just run. And watch what my agent does. Oh, agent has something going on here. I've got the wrong code, and that's okay. I've got the agent building here. All right, so let's try it again. I'm going to press the letter C, and I'm going to change from run. It looks like I got another line of code in there somewhere. And let's just make him go for a nice little brisk morning walk. Let's do walk instead. And let me spawn my agent in a nice space right there. There we go. And now let me type in walk. Oh my gosh, what am I doing wrong? So let's see here. What have I done? Agent play. Oh, that's why I've got agent place forward. Look at this. Just starting off here. I want agent move forward. Oh, Coulter, what are we doing here? And I'm sure some of our students out there were like, Coulter, you know what to do. You're better than this. And I am. Okay, let's try it again. Walk. There we go. And there goes my agent for a nice brisk morning walk. All right, so we want to do that. That's the first thing we want to do. Just get your agent to move forward a little bit and just practicing using that chat command. So go ahead. You have a moment to do this. And in a second, I'm going to tell you to do something else. So again, we're in the letter, press the letter C. We're in our coding screen. I've got my agent moving forward and I've used a repeat. Okay, maybe you want to start playing around with some other things if this is really easy for you. And that's okay if it's tough because you can see that I even struggled with it. So if it's a little bit more difficult, not a problem. Take your time. We just want to practice getting our agent to move using our chat command. All right. And once you finish that, I'm going to ask for you to do another task. So I'll give you maybe 30 seconds, and then I'm going to ask us to do something else. And I'm going to get myself prepared on my screen, but you don't need to watch my screen right now. You can focus on your screen and getting your agent to move and just practicing using that chat command.
Awesome, Coulter. I love watching other people code simply because it helps me when I see people make mistakes and learn from their mistakes. It really is a nice way to just, be more precise and be aware. Oh, it's so simple. And it's so easy to make just these silly little mistakes. Even when you're an experienced coder, it's great to be able to just go in and troubleshoot and be like, what is going on there? And you found your mistake right just like that. How's it going over there, friends? I know you're taking some time to get your agent going, take him on a walk. If you are getting your agent to move, if you're having some success there, give us a shout out over in the form. Remember, you can go to the cc.page/Minecraft 2021. Let us know how it's going. How's it coming along over there? And Coulter, get us all set up for the next activity.
All right. So no matter where you are, because I promise we're going to stop and we're going to give you some time to do all these tasks. I want you to now watch my screen for just a second, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to give my agent some inventory. Okay, I can code my agent to get inventory. I can go in and do some code to do that, but I can also do it really easy and just hand my agent some inventory. So I'm going to go up to my agent and I'm going to right click my agent, and you can see the agent doesn't have any inventory. So I've gone into my inventory here, my personal inventory, And you can see that I have some blocks here. I just press the letter E, and I have all my blocks ready to go. And what I can do is I can move some of my blocks into my, I don't know, Andrew, if you even know the term for this, I would call this my passive inventory, I guess. But this is my inventory that I'm ready to use when I need to, so I don't have to search for it anymore. So I can grab a block, for example. Let's add some stone here. Okay, so I've got some stone. I'm just going to put that up there. And when I go to click on my agent, I can see there's my stone. And I'm just going to put my stone up in the top left corner of my agent's inventory. All right, so I've got some stone in there. And now my agent has their stone and they're ready to place when they move. So I'm going to go back to my screen and I'm going to add in an agent place option. Okay, so now I could agent place, let's go back 30 times. Okay, so now when I press the play button, I'm going to spawn my agent over here, let's say, nice far away. All right, and now I'm going to have my agent do that by pressing enter, and I'm going to type in walk, and there my agent goes. And I know that we've all started practicing this with Timecraft, and it's a little bit different though, because now this is our own world. So now my agent is going to start helping me build my own area. And that was great. My agent was awesome, super helpful. So what I did here was, again, I just gave my agent some inventory and I just added another line of code to place the block down. So that's what I've done. And now I can actually have some more time to look at some other options. Like, for example, this logic here. I love this logic button. And these are some conditions. For example, if my agent walks into an area, I can do if then statements like if there's a block, then move up. And it can go over top of the block. So I can start using some different variables here or some logic and start incorporating the more challenging lines of code into my workspace. So now what I'd love for you to do, this is your time. We're going to pause here for about 5 minutes and we're going to give you some practice. So we want to give you some practice where you give your agent some inventory. You code your agent to move blocks, and then you try using a new line of code. So take your time. We're going to set a little timer on my phone here. We got plenty of time today. And my timer is going to go off in about 5 minutes just to give you that practice. And if you finish early, try using a different line of code. Try practicing using something that's unique and just have some fun in this world right now. Okay? So we'll check back in about 5 minutes. But your tasks are on the screen. Let us know in the form if you have any questions. I can see that we have lots of our students joining in today. And I love seeing some students just down the street from me at Denlow Public School over off of Leslie in North York. I love that you've joined us today. So thank you. They're my neighbors. And we'll catch back up in about, well, I'm already at 4 minutes, so I'll go quiet. is that green plus button, or if I'm going to use a chat command. And I like the chat command personally, using the chat command. And I'm going to change this chat command name to say place. We'll call it place. So I'm going to use probably 3 or 4 lines of code here. Okay, this is going to be the first line. The second line is going to go into my agent. So the red spot where it says agent, and I'm going to have my agent move forward. Okay. And the second line, or the third line of code is going to be agent, and I'm going to have agent place. Now, in each of these, I've got this drop-down menu of where I want them to move, these parameters, or where I want them to place. Okay. So if I'm moving forward, I don't want a block to be placed forward. You saw in my first example when I had it there incorrectly, I couldn't move if I was placing it forward. So I'm going to want to place it back. Or maybe if I've moved up by 1, I can place it down. Okay, so that maybe if I did that, it's going to do a great big tower straight up. So it all depends on how I want my agent to move. So these 2 lines of code are the most important. Agent move, let's say agent move forward, agent place. Those are the 2 most important ones. Okay. Now, if I just had this there and I just ran with this, it's only going to do it 1 time. It's going to move forward 1 and place back 1. But if I wanted to add a loop, I can see how many times I'm going to do that. So I can loop it and have 3 or 4 times, or like I did earlier, I had 30 times where it's going to now move forward and place a block back. All right. So what I do now is I press the play button. And I've got my agent here. I'm going to go spawn my agent right here because I'm going to make a little square here. Let's put the agent facing me. There we go. And I can now go to my chat command by pressing T for talk or enter. And I had the on chat command was the word place. I type in place and I press enter. And there we go. Okay. So now I'm starting to build a little area here. I'm going to change my weather because I don't like it when it rains. It's uncomfortable. Okay. So that was, yeah. Thanks. Thanks for popping that up again. And thanks for those questions. And I can see that we've got some great questions coming in. Awesome, Emily. Great to hear that you've got your coding done. Yours is not moving, Annika. So, Annika, that's okay if it's not moving. Let's troubleshoot, right? Let's press the letter C. Let's make sure that spelling is correct, that we have place. Let's make sure that we have the agent moving forward, right? Or maybe it's not place, Annika. Maybe you just want to put a letter like L, right? It doesn't matter what you put here. You could put a couple numbers like 100. Okay, whatever you have on that chat command is what you have to type in to the Minecraft game. So on chat command might be rain, or it might be hello. So whatever that is, you have to make sure you type it in properly. Okay, and hopefully that helps with your troubleshoot. I wonder what did some individuals do out there? You know what I did? I made it. I was trying to get it to rain some chickens. So I put the mob and I put the spawn in. That was my new line of code that I did. So I've got the mob in here. I think if I write in walk, I think I'm going to get some chickens to rain. Let's see. Let's see here. I look up. I'm hoping I get some chickens to rain here. Here they come. Aha. So that was my mob. So that was the new line of code that I used. Everyone else might be doing a little bit different, but you can see what I'm trying to build here. There they are. So I hope you had some fun just practicing these things. I think it's time that we get into our challenge. This was just your warm-up. I think it's time we get into our challenge. So your challenge today, your build challenge, is that you are going to build your own time split. That means that you need to start thinking about a time split story, because what we did all week was and it's your turn now to stop using your computer and think about your time split story. And then when you've got your time split story, we want you to share it with us. So we want you to describe your time split story to us. So I'm going to sit here and Susan's going to think about one, and I'm going to come back in a couple minutes. We're going to give you a few minutes to plan. If you need to pause us, teachers, you can pause us right now as well and have maybe a group brainstorm. But we want to plan this out. We want to do this proper. So we're going to give you a few good minutes to plan out your time split story. Whether that is, think of the examples we did all week long. Think of the examples of you've lost the trumpet, so now you can only have the kazoo. Or the Mona Lisa fountain was damaged, and we need to fix the fountain. Or that the dinosaur paleontologist, someone didn't allow us to discover our bones. So we were not able to recognize that I believe it was the Bronchiosaurus, didn't have a long neck, right? Or that the architect couldn't figure out how to build a pyramid. So we had to help them build a triangle first to inspire them. So think about a story that you might be able to use as a new time split. And we'll come back to you in about, I'll set my timer. We'll go 3 minutes of brainstorming right now. 3 good minutes of brainstorming for you to plan your story. So we have about 30 seconds left. If you're still with us and you're planning away, we want to hear from you. We want to hear what ideas you've come up with. And maybe one of your ideas might inspire one of our audience members to help them out as well.
see some ideas coming in there. Looking forward to sharing some of those. Remember, if you have your time split idea, go ahead and add it to the form. You might still be thinking, or maybe you're not ready to share. Remember, you can press pause if you need a little bit more time for thinking, because there's our timer, but that's okay. You can just press pause and continue when you're ready with your idea.
Yeah, you heard my little timer go off, didn't you? I do my best to make it a little cool sounding timer, but it's still that alarm clock. And in my mind, it's like, oh no, the alarm is going off. We got to move on. Time to move on. So I can see that we have Ishmael that's saying that that's a great idea. We're looking at building a wall to fix something. And we have Michelle saying, I would like to make a castle like with the staircases and have the agent walk on the staircase to get to the stone. Thank you, Michelle. And yes, Ishmael's mentioned that he's going to build some stairs. Perfect. Rihanna wants to use the trumpet idea and maybe change it into her own idea, which is great. I've come up with a couple ideas. Susan, I don't know if you came up with one, but I'm going to share one. I was thinking, because I'm when I think about these things, I try to think about a connection to me personally. So I made a connection that I'm from Niagara Falls. I grew up there, and I'm thinking that maybe the time agent went back in time somehow and stopped the water from running over the top of the falls. He put up a dam, and the dam is now blocking all the water. So I need to get my time agent to go and destroy the dam. That was one of my ideas. I also have a second one that I kind of came up with. Susan, I don't know if you have one. Yeah, you do? Do you want to share yours?
So it's funny you talk about that personal connection, because one thing I really love in my personal life is ice cream. So I'm wondering if, like, my time split is that the very first creator of ice cream like had a secret recipe and had it written down, and it was stolen and lost, like hidden. So we had to find that, or else there would never be ice cream again. Like, that would be tragic, right?
Tragic. I love that idea. I can see Miss Slack's class coming in hot with a bunch of ideas to help share with our friends out here. We have natural disasters ruining homes, so our job is to fix them. Building the pyramid, fixing a castle from a recent battle, taking care of animals who need a new place to live. I love those ideas. Brianna was saying that, she gave us a full story. A girl named Brianna was very happy and her life was amazing, but one day the family disappeared, so now she's very sad and misses them very much. Let's help Brianna find her family. Wow, such detail. That's awesome. That was Savannah. Thank you, Savannah. Awesome. And I love seeing some of these answers come through. I have another idea that I've been thinking of, again, making that personal connection to me, because it makes it easier to not be too overwhelmed with so many ideas. So I just chose something, and I can look out my window and I can see the CN Tower. I live pretty close to it, so I can see the CN Tower. And I'm thinking, because it's so tall, maybe one of my issues is that the time agent went back in time and stole all the materials to build the actual tower. So now there's only the floating dome at the top of that tower, and there's no staircase or fancy elevator that brings us up to the top. So I have to code my agent, or the person who's going to fix my time split has to code the agent to build that tower. So I think I'm going to try to choose one of two of those. But you can choose whatever one you'd like. And if you keep coming up with ideas, we'd love for you to put it in our channel and put it in our chat here. And we'll love to share those ideas with you. But the idea that you're going to do is complete that time, or now that we've planned our time story, you get to build your area with this time split. So it's your turn to start building that area with the time split. So whether that is going to be, you just need to build a big fence and you need to start feeding the animals there. So you have to code your agent to dig up and place down some seeds. You can do that. Maybe you're going to code your agent like I am. I think I'm going to have my agent code a tower. So I'm going to look to have my agent place down and move up and place down and move up. But whatever you like to do, you're going to have to build that setting, right? So maybe that setting, like we did earlier, was with the jazz musician. We had to go into an underground club, I believe that was, where they're playing some jazz. So we went in to a music place, and maybe you have to build the fountain for Mona Lisa, or maybe you have to build that paleontologist dig site. So you have to build that setting first. So it's your time to build your time split. And we'll check back in about, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes. We'll give you about 10, 15 minutes of build time. And you have to keep in mind, what is the problem your agent is going to fix? So that's something to keep in the back of your mind. Okay, we don't have to talk about that just yet, but think about what is the problem your agent is going to fix. And it can be just a simple line of code. It doesn't have to be super elaborate. You could just have your agent move forward and destroy some blocks. You can have your agent, maybe not even move forward. Maybe you want your agent to moonwalk and just destroy backwards or destroy down, whatever you'd like. But you do need to have something built in that setting for them. So this is a fun time to be creative and build a setting. So head on over to your Minecraft world, wherever you are. You can start building. We can actually even watch my screen if you just want to stream and watch my screen. I'm going to start building a tower here because I think I'm going to choose that CN or even that Calgary tower. That Calgary tower is pretty close. I know it's not as tall, but it's pretty iconic still, isn't it?
I see a couple kids out there sharing their ideas. I'll do that while you're building your tower, Coulter. I see someone's building their house and someone's building a rectangle. So thanks to Nathan and Samit for sharing. Awesome. Remember, you're building now. Set it up. What is your situation? What problem is your agent going to fix? And start setting up that scene, right? The setting of your situation. So I've coded with Coulter a few times, and I just saw him pick up a really fancy device called a pen. And what I know that Coulter is doing, he's got his trusty notepad there and his pen, because as he's coding, sometimes he takes notes that will help him along the way. So even though people think that coding is such a digital task, a lot of coders keep a notebook really close to just jot down specific notes. In front of my desk, I actually have a whiteboard. I have a whiteboard right here, and it's right under my monitor. And so I take my notes on my little whiteboard that's right in front of my monitor, so that, as I'm planning or I need to just keep a detail in front of me. So yeah, that super fancy pen, Coulter. I love it. Ooh, Zane is out there. Zane says that nobody had a table, so Zane is building tables. Man, what would we do at dinner time if we didn't have tables? That sounds like an important problem to solve. We can't have that invention go wrong, right? We got to make sure that the person who invented the table. Great idea, Zane. Oh, it looks like Anika. Finally, the agent is moving. You did it. Awesome. Great perseverance there. Thank you for sharing and checking us, just keep letting us know. Sometimes it doesn't go right the first time. So thank you so much. Hopefully you guys are out there, my friends, setting up your setting, getting yourself going. But I'm so glad you got that agent moving now. So let's see what you can do next. Oh, I see Emily's idea. Emily out there says that there was a big fire and some of the paintings, we had to save the paintings so they didn't burn in the fire. Yeah, that would be a time split worth fixing. We want to make sure that all that art is saved. As Coulter is coding away, remember you can let us know how it's going. Go ahead and check in with us using that form, the cc.page/Minecraft2021. Check in, let us know. Oh, looks like someone is trying to find Rudolph. Oh, that's an important one this time of year. Finding Rudolph. Nathan, I hope you find Rudolph because I know I have some kiddos who would be very disappointed if that didn't happen. So very important time split to rectify there. Oh, Sophie's back with an idea. Sophie says, so the telescope, they lost that idea and it wasn't invented. And so people are just making some wrong answers about space. You know that before there were telescopes that happened, people didn't know what was out there. So, oh, right. Yeah.
A great idea. I love that one.
We need to have that clear view into space to know what's going on out there. So yes, please make sure that that telescope gets invented, Sophie. Great idea. Nathan's going to find Rudolph with his agent. Oh, Santa's lost the reindeer. Oh, Anika, you have to code your agent to find the missing reindeer. Yes, this is a great one. I love this. This is one of those personal connections you're talking about there, Coulter, right? Like this is a really relevant problem for a lot of kids. So we have to make sure that they solve that one. Looks like Ishmael from Mrs. Ratcha's 6-7 class has something going on at the Lockheed Martin facility. And looks like maybe they're trying to design something. Something wasn't designed there. And so now it looks like Ishmael's building the entire Lockheed Martin facility and making sure that there's some design tables there so that that A11 has its stealthy design, right? Oh, that's very cool. I think that maybe Ishmael has a passion for very cool.
So I think we're coming to not an end, but we're getting there. And we want to know from you, what problem now is your agent going to fix? I love hearing some of these ideas that we're coming up with, but now we want to know, what is your agent going to fix, right? And we have something specific. So what I'm looking for essentially is, what is your agent going to do? What exactly is your agent going to code, or what are you going to code your agent? So I'm going to show you my screen again. And this is what I'm going to think about. So I have my time split here, or my time gap, right? And I have this area here where I can code something for my agent to fix. So when I go into my world, you can see here is my floating CN tower, top of the CN tower. Now, I don't know if you have it if you've seen it before, but there's a glass walkway all the way around it. So I put a little glass walkway, and it's missing the whole base. So it's missing that bottom piece. So I'm going to get my agent to code the rest of this tower. I even have a little NPC up here. It's going to talk. This is my Daredevil NPC. But what I'm going to have is that you go into your coding world, your coding screen, by pressing C, and now start thinking about how you're going to have your agent code something. So what might your agent be coding? Again, what is it? That simple project, which is great just to have them move forward? Is it a little bit more challenging? Is it going to be a little bit more challenging? So I know that I have to have my agent build this tall space, basically this tall building that's going to be probably 4x4. So I'm going to plan it out here. And I'm going to look, okay, I need to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and I need to do this whole base here because it's right there, and I need it to go straight up. So one thing that I've done as well is I've put on my position. You can see in the top left, I got my position there. That's my coordinates. So I can press escape, settings, and I can scroll down on the right-hand side, and I can turn on my coordinates, show coordinates. Now, if I show my coordinates, it shows me how tall or how wide I need to build something. So I can move up, and you can see here that middle number is how high I need to build. So it looks like I need to build about 23, 22 high. Is that about? Yeah, about 23. So I need it to build 23 levels high. So I'm going to go back into my coding world, and I'm going to start trying to code my CN, I'll title it, for CN tower. Actually, I like the term tower. Let's do tower. Okay. So now I'm going to practice my code. So this is just my answer sheet, basically. So maybe I'm going to have a classmate come in and have to try to code this. And so the first thing I know I need to do is I need to move my agent up. And I'm going to want my agent to place a block. Agent place. And I'm going to want to do agent move. I'm going to just head over here and I'm going to test my agent out to see how it goes because I love doing my testing. Just getting stuck there again. Agent move up, agent place forward, agent move forward. I'm going to want to put that down. And I'm going to want to move my agent to turn.
Got a few friends out there. It looks like Gersadak says they're having fun, and looks like someone else is the agent is trying to catch Pikachu because Pikachu escaped. So pretty fun stuff.
I love those ideas. So I'm just walking you through mine. What I've done is I need to build a little square, right? Because I'm building a tower. So with my square tower here, I've just coded my agent to build a simple square. So that's the code I use to build it. And I know that I can move my agent up by 1. And the thought process that I did was I built this out really small, right? I started with my thought process here. I knew I had to move my agent up by 1. I then had my agent place down and move forward by 1. But I wanted to repeat that so I could do by 4. Right? That was my thought process right here. So this agent turn isn't needed there. But what I can do now is then I thought, all right, I need now to move my agent to turn right. And I wanted that agent to do it 4 times. So this is why I decided, okay, I need to do this now 4 times because there's 4 walls like that. So I repeated the repeat code. So that's what I was looking at doing. And so when I did that, I was able to build something like that. So when I type in CN Tower, it should now build right on top of it. Yeah.
I love how that looping command really makes that job so much more efficient, right?
Well, here's my thought, Susan, is that if I loop this, now I got it running pretty good. If I loop this a few other times, let's get out of here. If I now loop this, I can loop this, and I measured it 23 times.
You're gonna loop your loopy loop.
I'm gonna repeat. I'm gonna 3-peat the repeat.
Awesome.
I'm going to do that, I think, but I'm going to repeat it 23 times. And I'm hoping that this code solves my little error here. So I'm going to try and just do it right here away from my tower.
So
And I think it's going to keep going. Yeah. So now if I spawned my agent, say right here, I'm thinking that and you know what? If I move away, it's nice to see my agent is still building. And let me get my weather clear because I should just do a full-on clear day as always with perfect weather. But we are, yeah. So if I come right here, I'm going to spawn my agent right here underneath. Let's see if it's pretty close. Perfect. Get out of the way, cow. Oh, the agent's still building. So it's pretty close. I'm pretty happy with that. It's going to start building up. It's not connected just yet, but I can always destroy this and just change it and redo it where I want my agent to spawn. I don't think I can stop my code. I don't think I can. Oh, maybe I did. Or maybe it just finished. Maybe it ran out of blocks. That's the other thing I need to think of. Is maybe it's run out of blocks. So as we're running out of time, because that time just flew by just now. I'm looking at the clock and I'm like, oh no. So what I want to hear from you folks is we need to do two things before we go. The first thing is we can go into our inventory. We can write a board down. We can grab a board. We can place our board and we can place that down and we can explain our time split. So oh no, it looks like there is no longer a tower to the CN. It is just a floating dome. Someone has gone back in time and has taken all of the building materials. Give your agent, share with your agent. Let's go share. Some blocks and help us restore one of the tallest buildings in the world. So there's my little story. I put it on a board so people know what they need to do. And now they can come here and have to code right there. So if I spawn my agent, let's see if I spawned it right here. Team tower. Let's see. I think, it's going the wrong way. It's turning right. That's okay. I think we get the idea, right? So as we start to wrap things up with 1 minute to spare, we want you to keep working on this. This is something that you can have some fun with and work on your own time, or maybe if you still have some time in class, feel free to be working on this as long as you'd like, and we want to hear and share with you. We do. Andrew, welcome back. We had Savannah out there asking questions. She was nervous. She didn't know what happened to you. I think there was just a little computer issue, and that happens to us all when we're using some computers sometimes. So thank you for coming back. I'm sure that you're kind of looking at mine. You're like, you know what, Coulter? This is pretty good. I wasn't expecting that. I'm hoping that's what you're going to say to me. But, as we talked to some of our guest speakers throughout the whole week, we did learn that sometimes it's important to get some negative feedback. And sometimes it's necessary to hear how we can change things to improve it. So, Andrew, maybe when we get off our call, you can tell me how I can improve this.
Sounds like a plan.
Perfect. But students, we are out of time. We want to know, with our final question, what was your favorite part of Computer Science Week? We want to know, what was your favorite part of Computer Science Week? I had a bunch of fun. To be honest, planning this and building this was probably one of my favorites, just because I got to be a little bit more creative on my own. I love doing other things in the time splits, and I do really enjoy doing the first computer scientist, only because I was able to go back and do some research on the computer scientist and learn all about her. So I didn't stop my learning with just ending playing with Minecraft. I went above and beyond and started looking at more and getting more information about some of the characters that we learned in our time splits. So thank you, everybody, for being here today. I hope you have fun continuing building your time splits and your own time gaps and your own problems. We want to hear all about that. So still populate the form, still answer those questions, because we want to hear about them and see what you've done. And maybe if teachers out there, if you want to share some of your students' work, we're happy to hear from you. Share your students' work with us. And thank you so much for bringing us into your classroom today. Thank you, Andrew, for joining us. Thank you, Susan, for being on the call and such great support every time we're together. And we hope to see you again in another co-taught lesson. Have a great day, everybody, and keep building and creating and having fun in Minecraft.